Dear Radiant Leo, born under the sign of divine light, courage, and self-expression. There is something you need to hear right now. You are no longer required to chase. Not love. Not approval. Not even wealth. Your energy has shifted, and the universe is preparing to respond in ways that will feel both miraculous and deeply familiar. July 29th is not just another date on the calendar. It is a turning point. One of those rare cosmic moments when what you've been aligning with internally begins to crystallize externally. This message isn't random. You didn't land on this video by coincidence. And the words you are about to hear, they are meant for you. As someone who has been quietly growing, healing, and rebalancing your life, this is your season to receive. The astrology is clear, with the moon in Libra harmonizing beautifully with Venus in Leo. A sacred alignment is forming, activating your money house, self-worth, and innate magnetism. This is not energy you hustle for. It is energy you embody. And Leo, right now, you are glowing in the eyes of the cosmos. You felt it already, haven't you? Those subtle shifts in your spirit, the dreams that feel more vivid, the heartbeat that quickens when you think about the future. That's not imagination. It's confirmation. Something within you has opened, and now right now you're standing in front of a portal that was always meant for you. The truth is, wealth isn't chasing someone louder or more aggressive. It's seeking those who are ready to receive without apology. You no longer need to prove that you're worthy. You simply need to be who you already are, brilliant, bold, and beautifully aligned with your purpose. So take a deep breath. Let go of the old script that said you had to do more, give more, suffer more. That version of you is done. Now comes the chapter where money comes not as compensation for pain but as a reflection of your readiness, your truth, and your light. As we move through this message together, I encourage you to drop into your body, into your energy field. Ask yourself gently, am I truly ready to stop chasing? Am I finally willing to allow good things to arrive without resistance? If the answer is yes, or even if it's maybe, then stay with me. Because what you're about to discover will not only shift your perspective, but unlock a whole new current of abundance flowing toward you. And if this message is already resonating, take a moment to leave a comment below and write, 888 millionaire energy. That's your signal to the universe that you are awake, aligned, and open to receive. It's not just a comment. It's a contract between your higher self and your next chapter. Let me also take a moment to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. Your presence, your likes, your comments, and your willingness to return to yourself with love, it fuels this community we're building. It's your energy that allows eternal mindfulness to exist, to serve, and to share these transformative messages with those who are truly ready. Now let's go deeper. Stay until the end, because what the universe is about to reveal to you, Leo, is nothing short of spectacular. This could be the moment that changes everything. When the rhythms of your breath feel a little unfamiliar, when your heartbeat seems to echo louder in your chest, or when you wake from dreams that linger longer than usual, know that these are not random sensations. They are the signs of a quiet revolution beginning from within. This transformation is not chaotic or loud. It's gentle. It's sacred. And for you, Leo, it's long overdue. Something profound is happening right now in your inner atmosphere. It's as if the garden of your spirit, dormant for seasons, is being touched by the sun again. You are that garden, and life is returning not because you forced it, but because your time to bloom has come. This shift is not the kind that requires external confirmation. It asks for something deeper, a willingness to surrender the old structure of proving, and allow in the grace of simply being. Pluto, the planet of deep excavation and cellular level transformation, is now gently stirring the sediment of your beliefs. And it's doing so not to punish or disrupt, but to loosen the weight of stories you've carried for too long. These are the silent contracts you made with yourself in the past, the ones that said you had to earn love by overextending, that your worth depended on being accepted, or that recognition must come through sacrifice. But now, under this current sky, something wiser within you is beginning to question those contracts. And beautifully, something even wiser is ready to release them. This is the season of unlearning. And in the space where old expectations fall away, a purer truth emerges. You do not have to be perfect to be powerful. You do not have to be exhausted to be worthy. You do not have to burn out to be seen. Your radiance is not earned. It is inherent. And today, you are remembering that. It's much like the moment a river, once frozen, begins to thaw. Slowly, delicately, movement returns not through force, but because the conditions are finally safe enough for flow. You, too, are thawing. Your resistance, your inner tension, your fear of being too much or not enough, these are melting. And underneath them, your original light begins to stir again. That light doesn't demand. It doesn't perform. It simply shines. This part of the journey often feels paradoxical. On one hand, there is a soft sense of relief. On the other, a subtle grief for all the time spent holding yourself back. Allow both to be present. Just like the petals of a flower hold both sunlight and rain, your heart can hold expansion and release at the same time. The ache you may feel isn't a sign of weakness. It's the final echo of an identity you no longer need. In certain teachings, it is said that the most profound awakenings happen not in noise, but in stillness. Not in striving, but in presence. When we stop chasing after worth and begin remembering it already lives within us, life stops being a pursuit and becomes a practice. You are entering that practice now. A return to rhythm. A return to alignment. A return to self. There is no map to follow. Only an invitation to trust the space that's opening. To honor the sensations rising in your chest, the clarity beginning to form in your thoughts, and the knowing that whispers, "This is your time." Not because the world is finally ready to see you, but because you are finally ready to see yourself. If you can feel even a flicker of that truth inside you, it's enough. That flicker is your confirmation. That is the spark that Pluto's touch has reignited. Stay with it. Breathe into it. Let it lead you. Because the version of you that's awakening now was never lost. It was simply waiting. There is a quiet moment when the chase stops, and something within you settles, not because you've given up, but because you've finally understood that what is meant for you doesn't need to be hunted down. It needs to be welcomed. This is the kind of energy that July 29th brings to the surface. It's not loud, but it is powerful. And Leo, you've arrived exactly at the right time for it. When Jupiter, the planet of expansive blessings, prepares to harmonize with Pluto, the deep transformer, the universe isn't just throwing luck your way. It's offering you a chance to expand from the inside out. What's being unlocked is not just more income, or opportunity, or success. It's the realization that abundance is a frequency and you are already broadcasting it. The more you align with your truth, your peace, your natural rhythm, the more wealth begins to show up as a reflection of who you are, not what you perform. It's easy to think of money as a reward for effort. That's the story we've all been told. Work harder. Push further. Hustle more. But this cosmic alignment doesn't support strain. It supports flow. And in that flow, the currency is clarity. The more grounded you are in your sense of worth, the easier it becomes to magnetize the opportunities that are aligned with your higher self. This is why, during this time, things may feel as if they are moving in your favor but without the usual pressure. You may receive a sudden message, a chance encounter, or a business idea that sparks something electric in your chest. These aren't tests. They are affirmations. The universe is saying, look, you don't have to force anymore. Just stay in alignment. From an energetic perspective, Pluto peels back layers of inherited conditioning, often passed down unconsciously beliefs like, money only comes through sacrifice, or, I need to be useful to be valuable. But Jupiter, with its benevolence and grace, expands what you believe is possible. Together, they create a portal of radical internal permission. Permission to receive. Permission to be supported. Permission to let ease be enough. In many wisdom traditions, the teaching is simple but profound. Stop paddling against the current and begin listening to the water. That is exactly what this moment is asking of you. To pause. To listen to your own field. To feel the subtle shifts. Not everything needs to be earned through sweat. Some things arrive simply because you are no longer blocking them. This isn't about being passive. It's about trusting the momentum you've already created. It's about showing up, fully present, not because you're trying to prove your worth, but because you've remembered it. You've already planted the seeds. Now the sun is rising. You do not need to scream for light. It finds you because you're standing in the right place, at the right time, open and available. So when you feel that momentum pulse in your chest, a glimmer of insight, a vision you had buried because it once felt too much, pause and return to the breath. Gently remind yourself, I am Leo. I align with wealth, with purpose, and with my divine right to shine and receive. Speak it not to summon anything, but to remember everything. Your wealth does not arrive because you chased it. It arrives because you became still enough to receive it. That stillness is not silence. It is presence. And that presence is where the real gold lies. There are moments in life that seem too precise to be called coincidence, numbers repeating themselves, patterns appearing in the most mundane places, a license plate, a receipt, the time glowing on your phone screen. And yet, something stirs within you when you see them. A quiet recognition, a pause. That's not your imagination. It's an invitation. A soft whisper from the fabric of reality itself, calling your awareness to a deeper rhythm already moving beneath the surface of your life. Numbers carry frequency. Just like sound, color, or breath, they hold a vibration. And certain sequences, those sacred numerical patterns that appear over and over, are like footprints left by the energy field of your own becoming. They are not instructions from the outside, but confirmations from within. You're not being told what to do. You're being shown what is already aligned. Take the number 888. When this sequence shows up, it is not merely about wealth in the material sense. It's the signature of flow. It tells you that something in your energy has relaxed enough to let abundance move toward you without resistance. It means you've stepped out of urgency and into receptivity. The way water flows around the rocks in a river, your intentions are now finding the clearest path forward, not by force, but by resonance. Then there's 111. This is the number of thought becoming form. The number of mental seed becoming embodied result. What you hold in your mind repeatedly is what your life begins to organize itself around. When you see 111, it's a gentle reminder to tune your focus, not just wish for change. Your thinking is not private, it's formative. And your reality is listening. And when you encounter 555, know that something is already shifting. This isn't a warning. It's a threshold. Transformation is not happening to you, it's arriving through you. But unlike sudden upheaval, this type of change asks for your collaboration. You are not just the passenger. You are the steering force. 555 brings the question, how will you shape the future that is already taking form? In contemplative wisdom, there's a teaching that says the external world mirrors the quality of your attention. If you look with a scattered mind, you'll find chaos. If you look with stillness, you'll begin to see the patterns. These numbers aren't signs in the way people often think. They are mirrors. They reflect your level of presence and your readiness to respond, rather than react. So what can you do when you start noticing these sacred sequences more frequently? First, pause. Not to overanalyze, but to acknowledge. You are aware. That alone shifts your vibration. Then, respond with presence. Choose one number that speaks the loudest to you and write it 3 times, slowly, with full awareness. Let it become a point of anchoring. Add a statement that affirms what this number means for you, like, I am open to wealth arriving in aligned and inspired ways. This practice isn't about magical thinking. It's about conscious participation. It allows your mind, body, and field to come into coherency so that your outer world begins to reflect the clarity inside. The numbers you see are not random. They are echoes of your own readiness. And the more you listen, the more you lead. Quietly, powerfully, and with the deep inner knowing that you were never waiting for a sign. You were simply remembering how to see. There is something profoundly healing about turning your intention into action. Not the kind of action that rushes or strains, but the kind that speaks and whispers to the deepest part of your being. When you step into ritual not as performance, but as presence, you create a space where the unseen can begin to take form. And that is exactly what this next step is inviting you to do. Ritual, when practiced with sincerity, becomes a mirror. It doesn't change the universe, it changes how you align with it. In this moment, Leo, your energy is already in motion. The frequencies of expansion, creativity, and abundance are swirling around you, responding to the subtle shift within your inner field. The purpose of the following practices is not to make anything happen, but to allow what's already on its way to arrive more clearly, more gently, and more powerfully. Writing a letter of gratitude to the universe is not about asking. It is about embodying. When you write, "Thank you for the wealth, the inspired opportunities, and the radiant life that is flowing toward me," you are not placing an order. You are declaring your readiness. You are moving your energy from longing into knowing. And knowing is the vibration where things begin to root and grow. You write not because you are trying to convince the universe, but because you are choosing to remember what already belongs to you. Touching gold, whether through jewelry, clothing, candles, or the shimmer of ink on the page, is more than symbolic. It's energetic. Gold holds a frequency that harmonizes with Jupiter, the planetary archetype of growth, luck, and generosity. Wearing or surrounding yourself with gold is not about appearance. It's about tuning yourself to a current of openness. Just as gold conducts electricity, it also helps you conduct belief that receiving does not require you to prove anything, but simply to stand in your truth. Listening to 528 Hz, the frequency often referred to as the vibration of miracles, is a form of energetic recalibration. This tone doesn't solve your problems. Instead, it gently untangles the resistance that's been wrapped around your perception. When you listen to it with presence, especially while affirming a truth like, "I attract prosperity without compromising myself," you begin to return to the natural rhythm of abundance. Not as a chase, but as a dance. Not through effort, but through clarity. This Trinity, writing with gratitude, adorning yourself with gold, attuning your field through frequency, is not about superstition. It's a conscious choice to engage your whole being, mind, body, and energy. In contemplative teachings, there is an understanding that what you hold in your heart must be confirmed by the body in order to take root. When thought, feeling, and physical action are aligned, the gap between the inner and outer world closes. That is the real power of ritual. Not to summon miracles, but to meet them halfway. As you move through each part of this practice, don't rush. Let it be gentle. Let it be real. There is no need to perform. You don't need the perfect pen or the right shade of gold. What matters is presence, intention, and the quiet conviction that you are worthy of a life where wealth flows in harmony with who you are. Let these small actions be your way of saying yes, not from hope, but from certainty. A certainty that doesn't need to be loud, because it knows. And Leo, when your knowing meets the momentum of this moment, the results will feel less like magic and more like truth finally arriving on time. There comes a moment, often quiet and unannounced, when you realize that waiting for permission is no longer part of your story. You stop asking for others to validate your brilliance. You stop bending to fit into expectations that were never designed for your shape. And instead, you simply stand fully present, unapologetically yourself, and the world begins to respond differently. Not because it has changed, but because you have. That is what this part of your journey is about, the reclamation of self-worth without negotiation. Leo, you were never meant to shrink. Your energy was built for presence, not performance. The mistake isn't in having wanted recognition, it's in believing you had to earn it by proving yourself through exhaustion. But worth is not a trophy at the end of a race. It is the ground you were standing on the entire time. And now, with the alignments of this sacred day, that ground is becoming visible. The universe doesn't grant abundance based on effort. Allanite responds to congruence. When who you are on the inside aligns with what you allow yourself to receive on the outside, a new pathway opens. Not because you forced it, but because you stopped blocking it. This is what we often miss. The idea that success must be painful is a belief, not a truth. A belief passed down, absorbed, and rehearsed so many times it became a quiet law in your nervous system. But today, you are given a chance to rewrite that law. You can replace the old condition, I must hustle to be worthy, with a new understanding, I am worthy, so I will create from joy, not lack. This is not delusion. This is the discipline of clarity. The practice of choosing alignment over depletion. In the same way a seed doesn't question whether it deserves to become a flower, you are not required to second-guess your natural expansion. The lotus never demands to be seen, it simply rises. And when it does, it becomes impossible to ignore. That is what it means to live from readiness rather than resistance. You stop trying to convince the world to see you, and instead focus on becoming so deeply rooted in your own light that seeing you becomes effortless. This idea of readiness is not about control or perfection. It is about intimacy with yourself, with your intentions, with the way you choose to move through the world. Readiness is not a performance. It is an agreement. A quiet yes that says, I no longer choose delay. I trust myself to carry what I've long prepared for. And the moment that yes becomes real, the path clears. So ask yourself, not with pressure but with honesty, am I still waiting for someone to choose me, or am I ready to choose myself? That's the only permission that ever mattered. Because the universe does not wait for you to be flawless, it waits for you to be available. When July 29th opens its portal, it won't be dramatic. But for those who are attuned, it will feel unmistakable. A shift in the air. A calm certainty in your chest. And if you lean into that moment with grace rather than doubt, with softness rather than striving, you'll begin to realize that what's arriving isn't just success. It's sovereignty. You are not here to follow. You are here to lead, first within, then without. You are not here to chase wealth. You are here to receive it as a mirror of your inner truth. So when that door appears, don't ask if you deserve to walk through it. You already do. The only question left is, will you believe it enough to take the first step? If you've stayed with me until now, then maybe, just maybe, you've already felt it. Not as an idea, but as a quiet vibration moving through your awareness. That subtle shift. That soft click. That moment when something within you stops waiting for permission and simply begins to open. What you've just received isn't just a message, it's an activation. The frequency of wealth is already present within your field, not because you demanded it, but because you finally became still enough to hear it calling your name. So now the question is no longer, how do I get it? The real question becomes, am I willing to allow myself to live in alignment with the light that's always been inside me? This moment isn't about learning something new. It's about remembering something old. Something deep. Something wise. The truth is, Leo, you were never meant to chase abundance. You were designed to hold it, to mirror it, to magnetize it by simply being exactly who you are. And today, that version of you is awakening in full. But don't let this moment pass by as just another video, another insight, another emotional stir that fades by tomorrow. What if you actually decided to practice what you felt today? What if instead of scrolling on, you paused and acted? Could a small ritual become your anchor? Could a breath of clarity realign your entire week? Could a single choice to trust your readiness change the trajectory of your month? You don't have to have the perfect plan. You just have to make the smallest move in the direction of your truest self. Whether it's lighting a candle, writing that letter, putting on something golden, or simply repeating the words, "I am ready," your action is what signals the shift. The universe already said yes. Now it's your turn. So I invite you, before you go, to drop into the comments and write the words, 888 millionaire energy. Not because it's trendy or symbolic, but because your declaration carries weight. It's your energetic yes. It's your contract with yourself. And perhaps even more beautifully, it invites others in this community to recognize that they're not alone in their awakening. You sharing your energy gives others permission to do the same. And if you know another Leo who needs to be reminded that their success has never been a question of effort, but of alignment, share this video with them. Be the mirror that helps them see the truth they've forgotten. Thank you for spending your time and presence with me. Every like, every comment, every subscription you choose to offer doesn't just support this channel, it deepens the shared field we're building here at Eternal Mindfulness. It allows us to continue delivering messages that don't just speak to the mind, but reach into the soul. Remember, the door is already open. You don't have to earn your way through it. You only have to step forward with the courage to say, yes. This life belongs to me. Until we meet again, keep choosing your light. Keep honoring your frequency. And never forget, you are not here to prove. You are here to receive.